Now broadcasting from the Next Gen Conservative Studio in sunny South Florida, bringing you the latest in politics, current events, and pop culture. This is the Whitfield Report with Sam Whitfield.
Well, finally, folks, it's about time we're live. Good God Almighty. I apologize for the lateness of the show, ladies and gentlemen. I sincerely do. But Rumble was having problems with starting the show. Now, I love Rumble. For the most part, they've been great since we, especially since we lost, the YouTube channel, and even when I was on YouTube, they were, you can back up your YouTube channel there. So I had all my content backed up to, to Rumble. And it was great. But one of the things that does kind of irritate me just a little bit, if I'm being completely honest, is the fact that you have to put in a placeholder whenever you start a new video or a new live stream. You have to start a new you have to upload a short 30-second video or something in the placeholder in order for it to go live or to, I guess, set up the stream. And it's just a weird bug. And the placeholder video that I uploaded, even though it was only 10 seconds long, would not upload to Rumble to save my life. It took me 30 minutes just to set up this one, little feed on Rumble. But nevertheless, we are here, ladies and gentlemen. So I want to thank you all for joining me tonight. It's going to be a little bit of an it's going to be a little bit of a different live stream tonight because we have no guest tonight. We've had some great guests over the past few weeks. We had, Kurt. We had Kurt Doolittle and then Craig Mansfeld. As our first two guests as part of this relaunch. Both names start with C. I just realized too. So, that's interesting. Maybe we'll get a Carl or something as one of our guests in the near future. I don't know, but irregardless, we've had some great shows. Usually we try and get guests on Wednesday, but tonight we weren't able to get any for this week, so it's just going to be it's just going to be me tonight and maybe some other people if they decide to join the show. But anyway, well, ladies and gentlemen, this has also kind of been a slow news week, hasn't it? Real quick shout out in the chat to Basic Backholder, who says, I'm going to come on the Rumble chat. Well, you're already here, so I guess you came. Basic, welcome to the, to the show. 07 to you, sir. And 07 to the folks on Odyssey as well. Not sure. Let's see the feed there. Just let me see here. The bummer with all these alternative platforms is I can't put the chats in like a nice control panel on Melon like I can with YouTube. So that's the one bummer. I kind of have to check each individual chat individually, but no problem. But anyway, back to the show. As I was saying, this week has kind of been anticlimactic, right, folks? Because on Monday, as as Max and I talked on the podcast on Monday, the big news obviously was that Trump was supposed to, get indicted on Tuesday. He was supposed to get arrested, um, by the New York police, I guess. And that never came to fruition on Tuesday. That came and went. And I kind of joked with Max a bit that, wow, that really fucked up, the show I had planned because I was thinking that they were going to, be doing that very thing, arresting Trump, and that was going to be that. And that was going to be a big part of the news cycle. And, it already kind of is. Just the prospect of that was, I guess, a big highlight in the news this week. But it didn't come to fruition. Now, it could still happen later this week or next week. But it hasn't happened yet. And I've heard all sorts of speculative reasonings as to why it didn't happen. One of the theories is that, and I'm just going to lay out like two of the most crazy theories right off the bat. First theory as to why Trump didn't get arrested was because, well, Trump alerted the people, and the deep state was afraid of him alerting people to what actually happened. So therefore, the the deep state called off the arrest of Donald Trump, and Q was right, and Q predicted this. And yes, folks, there is still a QAnon crowd out there. They're still crazy, but they are still predicting stuff like this, and that's what they said. Well, then on the far left, you have nutsos that were saying, oh, well, Bragg's just gathering more evidence to make sure that his case is airtight. And they just want to make sure that everything is going well according to plan. And in all honesty, folks, the truth is probably a bit, it's probably a mix between the two, in all honesty. My theory as to why Trump was arrested yesterday was because even the Democrats, once Trump leaked on Truth Social that he was getting arrested on Tuesday, and, that became a big news story, even the Democrats, such as Barney Frank, were saying that this was going to be politically bad for the Democrats. If Trump were arrested, and let's face it, Alvin Bragg has been caught on record publicly saying that he hates Trump, that he wants him gone. So the evidence is, pretty clear that, Bragg is not an unbiased district attorney, and his ability to prosecute would be compromised. And I've heard some theories that, if Trump were to get arrested and prosecuted by Bragg, right, that would pretty much prove that the legal system is being weaponized against political opponents. And as much as the Dems hate Donald Trump, as much as they might want to get rid of them, they do care about their optics. And I know that term optics has kind of become cringe, but the Dems, let's face it, whatever you think of Trump and his optics, which haven't always been great, the Dems are not in a great position in terms of optics either, because let's face it, Joe Biden is president of the United States currently, and that does not bode well for them because he can't speak, literally. So the Dems know that they have an optics problem right now. They know that arresting Trump right now would look bad. They know that the evidence, for what they're claiming is shoddy as fuck at best, right? It's not that great. So they're not going to, they're not going to let Bragg do this. And when I mean I don't necessarily just mean the Democrats. I mean, the mayor of New York City is probably right. The mayor of New York City is probably saying that this would be bad. The New York Democrats, as left wing as they may be, they're pretty much telling Bragg to stand down at this moment. That's my theory, at least. And hopefully nothing will come of this. I think enough people are aware of what a sham this is, that like even Bragg has to know that this is a bad idea. So that's why I think that this Trump getting arrested / prosecuted isn't going to happen, because it would be bad optically, and they know that. And so yeah, Max and I also talked on Monday why this whole thing would be bad in other ways for the Democrats, but I'm not going to rehash that. I just kind of wanted to give a quick update as to what was going on with that whole thing, which evidently is nothing. So anyway, the only other bit of political, commentary that I have for this evening, ladies and gentlemen, is the fight between Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump has, in fact, kicked off, ladies and gentlemen. And look, I have said this before, and my position on this hasn't changed at all. I think it is incredibly stupid that the Republican Party wants to pit Ron DeSantis against Donald Trump, because at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, I do believe that Trump and DeSantis are better as allies compared to them being opponents or whatever. Right? I believe that they're stronger together, essentially. Right? So Trump endorsed DeSantis in 2018 for governor of Florida. DeSantis won by a landslide. He's been the best governor of Florida in my lifetime. And, I can't really say too much bad on as far as being governor of the state. He's been a great leader. With that being said, I am also, like I have said, very aware that him going against Trump would not be good, for him because it would split the base. And also, there are people who would, there are people who support DeSantis right now who would not support him if he in fact did declare like he's running for president directly against Donald Trump. The MAGA base would not be there. Shmuley Max and I talked about that, pretty in depth last week on the show. So it's not really that surprising. So, but here we are anyway. We're going to have them fight. So as Razorfist said, if we're going to have Trump and DeSantis fight, then let them fight. Now, as much as I like DeSantis, Trump is clearly, I think, the stronger candidate here when it comes to campaigning, right? He's a shit talker. He knows how to steamroll people because he's done it a bunch in the in previous elections. He generates massive crowds that there's an energy about him, and there's an energy about Trump that no other really political candidate has. And as much as I like DeSantis, he does come off, in comparison to Trump, I guess, he has his own brand of energy, but it's not Trump's energy. And so it's just going to divide the base. And ultimately, I don't think, DeSantis would win a primary against Trump. Even if he did, however, let's just say that, I think, Shmuley and Max talked about this already, and I trust their judgment. If DeSantis were to get the nomination in 2024, the MAGA base and the Trump base would leave, which does frustrate me a little bit because I still subscribe to Andrew Breitbart's rule, which is when it comes to facing off against the Democrats and the left, I will stand for whoever the candidate is, because we lose. That was the theory that that was the rule that I applied in 2016 when voting for Trump. Even when I had, reservations about him, right? And so I would just ask that those, people who are hesitant of DeSantis now, if he does get the nomination, I would ask they support him, for the nomination. But I don't know if that's going to happen. I think in either case, whether it be Trump or DeSantis, I think either of them could beat Joe Biden. And that's the most important thing, ladies and gentlemen. I don't see um, I don't see Biden getting a second term in either case. Not unless they, mess with the election again. I think it would be more resounding with Trump. But, I think DeSantis could beat Joe Biden in a general. I mean, and now the other thing that does kind of, I guess, frustrate me from the Trump side is they say that, in comparison to Trump, DeSantis's establishment. And I get why they say that, because he is a career politician, to an extent. And he is also taking donor money, which I guess makes him more susceptible to being controlled, right? I understand the argument. I get it. But DeSantis was also the guy who just a few years ago, during the COVID pandemic of 2020 and 2021, a lot of both the left and even some of the, MAGA conservatives were saying that he's the second coming of Trump, right? And that was good for us as conservatives and Trump supporters. And that was bad for the Democrats. In fact, in some ways, I remember reading several tweets from, left-wing commentators saying that DeSantis was worse than Trump in many ways, because, right, they could just dismiss Trump by saying, oh, he shoots his mouth off, he's just obnoxious. But, DeSantis is more measured. He is, I guess, he's not as abrasive, but at the same time, he does have, like I said earlier, he does have the same punch that Trump does. Now, who would I support, ladies and gentlemen? Honestly, I think at this point, I would support Donald Trump, right? Because it seems like he's going to be the nominee anyway. He's the clear choice, the very clear winner. And so, I feel like it's in our best interest to back him. And plus, I want DeSantis to stay here as governor of Florida. It just seems like it would be the best thing to do for the entire country. Say what you will, about that. But, what I would like to see is Trump run, win in 24, get 4 years, serve out those 4 years, and then in 2028, Ron DeSantis can run probably against Gavin Newsom by then. Right? And listen, that election will be very interesting when that happens, because we will essentially get, the Florida coast, right, in how we did things and our way of governing, versus, California's way of governing things, right? And which state's political ideology and political way of governing things, which state will prevail over the entire nation at that point. It's an interesting thing to think about, ladies and gentlemen. It really is. When you think about it. So that'll be in 2028 if everything goes according to plan. But in the meantime, Trump and DeSantis are gonna have to, hash it out, I guess, and we will see. May the best man win, I guess. So that's what I have to say about that. Now, yeah. So that's all the kind of political commentary and political news that I have for you tonight. One quick thing that I want to mention before we end tonight's live stream, I actually do want to play a video for you, and because it's been a while since we've talked pop culture and whatnot, and we tend to talk about woke pop culture and how the woke has infected everything from comic books to movies to video games, etc., etc. It's been a consistent theme of ours here on the Whitfield Report for a couple of years. Woke entertainment versus non-woke. And a lot of the woke entertainment, ladies and gentlemen, was it came about during the era of Donald Trump, and and as a result of that, kind of the whole 2014 Gamergate era, and so and woke hasn't sold very well at all. We know this. It's killed the entertainment industry, it's killed sales, and people are tired of it. And so I found a video essay from this guy named Andy Mian, I think how you pronounce his name. And he put out a video 2 weeks ago basically explaining how woke media is now dying, and we're coming to a post woke entertainment era. Thank goodness. And so this was a very interesting video essay. I want to play part of it and break it down for you because I do think that this is encouraging news, and I also want to maybe get this guy on the podcast since he is an interesting guy who does, I guess, entertainment commentary. So here is Andy Mion's video on why woke culture is dying. Let me cue this up for you all. So, okay. And okay, share tab. Okay, got that. Okay, share screen. Okay, folks, we got it. So this is Why Woke Entertainment is Dying by Andy Mion TV on YouTube. And although I don't usually do this, I will leave a link to his channel in the description of the show once this is archived on Spotify and podcast platforms. So you're welcome. It's only about 15 minutes long. I think we'll, bookend. It'll end tonight's show kind of on an uplifting palate cleanse note. So anyway, let's roll the tape. Go.
It's Endymion, and the world in the past few years has gone crazy, which is putting it mildly. Many of our favorite franchises from movies, TV, and even games have all become virtue spewing messes, with concepts like diversity and inclusion mattering more than telling good stories. For the past few years, I think it's safe to say that the world as we know it has gone from rational to a maelstrom of wokeness. But what is wokeness? That word gets thrown around a lot, with it meaning to be awake and to be alert to racial prejudice and discrimination. But there's another definition for it, but you won't find it in any dictionary. And that's when something is woke, it usually means it's garbage, a charade, and at its core, it's utterly soulless. And with so many companies out there trying to force political messages down your throat from everything including Hollywood films and games, it's becoming clear that as a people, we're growing tired of it. The course of human history has what we call eras, like the Cold War era for example, or the Backstreet Boys era, which I'm particularly fond of myself. Anyway, our society is currently being drowned in what I would call the woke era. However, lately there's been symptoms of change, small cracks in the mask that many hide behind in this era of supporting the current thing, while doing nothing but protest and victimize themselves as if that's going to change anything. There's glimmers that there are those who are utterly tired of this nonsensical garbage, who want something more than what the millionaire actors and colored hair activists have been conditioned to believe and project. And like any other period in history, there will come a time for it to end in order to usher in a new era. And that, my dear viewer, is where we are heading right now. So let's talk about how we're entering the post-woke era and what it means for you, me, and the rest of the world. If you've been following the channel for a long time, you know that I have been completely against accepting the current way things are. From the politics, the echo chambers, and the tribalism of today's people, most of it makes me shake my head in disappointment, as I wonder how we got ourselves to this point. You have things like the Proud Family on Disney Plus parading their characters around talking about the history of slaves, in order to gaslight the TikTok and Twitter addicts into sharing and absorbing the message, and then raging out as they think they're fighting injustice by sharing a clip of a show financed and produced by a billionaire corporation known for bending the knee to China and others, all while using devices like iPhones and laptops to call an end to slavery and discrimination, while not realizing the very products they view these clips on are largely made by and supplied via the exploitation of slave labor. That phone you're using as you complain about injustices and better working conditions is powered by cobalt batteries, which are largely supplied by workers in the Congo who work for as little as $2 a day pulling cobalt from the mines in hazardous locations as they expose themselves to the toxins. But this actual reality will fall on deaf ears, as the wokest of the woke don't care about those beneath them, and just see others as propaganda pieces to use in order to uplift their own sense of moral superiority. There's a lot of hypocrisy in today's world, with many young people believing they're freedom fighters, pushing themselves.
I want to pause the video and add some commentary just for fair use here. Everything that he's saying is spot on here. And what he just said about the woke being hypocrites. I don't think a lot of normies per se understand that that's what we're upset about when we mean woke, right? It's not just a thing of, oh, you're just upset because everything in Hollywood is liberal, right? That's often a that's often what kind of the counter counterfight of, oh, Sam, you're just an angry, conservative guy who's upset that that liberals run Hollywood, and you just can't stand it because of your political bias. No, folks, I'm under no illusion that, Hollywood for years has been, on the left, very liberal. None of that really has ever really bothered me. I don't think that fact in and of itself bothers very many conservatives or libertarians like myself. I think a lot of people have accepted that, a lot of Hollywood directors and actors are, you know, big libs, and I think a lot of people are generally okay with that. Uh, partially because we have to be, right? But now the propaganda and whatnot, and now the messaging is so, they're not even trying to hide anymore. Like they said, like Andy Mion here says, they're literally forcing it down your throat at this point, and people don't like that. They don't. So, and that's why Hollywood is dying, in a nutshell. Why woke media is dying. Oh, okay. Just lost my place. Okay. Okay, here we are. Continuing on.
Themselves against the patriarchy and the monolith of injustice in today's world. Yet all they do is throw their hands up in the air in rage while never lifting a finger or doing anything but complain while waiting for someone else to fix the problem. This whirlwind of being raised to hate and see yourself as a victim in every situation has done nothing but ruin our society for the worse. People are more disconnected than ever, with everyone clamoring over each other like World War Z zombies as they push whatever is currently politically correct in order to gain likes and followers. And if you couldn't tell, I don't care about supporting the current thing. In fact, I think a lot of what young people are worried about today, from climate change to which pronouns to use so that they don't offend each other, it's all just a giant waste of time. Because all it takes is a single article or viral video to completely blind the majority of people into fighting each other, not realizing that if they just listen to one another instead of always looking for a reason to hate one another, they could actually bring about real change for once in their lives. But like I said, there are now cracks in the facade, and it's clear that people are largely fed up with this useless ideological pursuit of self-righteousness. Wokeified content is dying, with many shows and even games being largely rejected by today's audiences. With examples like Saints Row completely bombing after changing for a modern audience. Even after fans pleaded that the studio go back to their roots, but Volition thought they knew better and instead doubled down on all the virtue signaling nonsense. And all that did was cost their publisher $100 million in making the game a reality. And it severely underperformed, which led to over $46 million in losses.
Again, this is more evidence that, woke is dying in the entertainment industry. It's not making money at all, ladies and gentlemen. And people, I guess, it's apparent to everyone now. One of the things is, woke media is dying and it's not making money, but it could come back again fairly quickly. One of the reasons why, woke became such a big thing, particularly in 2015 and 2016, was because of Trump, right? And so all these woke, creators basically planned all their content out because of Trump. And now that the Trump era is over, they're running out of woke shit. But now that Trump is running again, they'll probably try and make more. So yeah, let them run the entertainment industry into the ground. Now, I tend to like Endymion, and I do want to have him on at some point. But one of the things that I want, one of the things I'd like to discuss with him at some point is how do we as creatives, like, who are the non-woke content creators other than YouTubers and podcasters? I mean, I think he knows of some, non-woke creatives out there. So I would like to feature those individuals out there. So, let's see. Yeah, this video goes on for like 20 minutes. I thought it was shorter the first time I watched it, but yeah, overall though, I think it's a pretty good take from Endymion, and go check his channel out. And like I said, hope we will have him on the show here sooner rather than later. So yeah. Talk about Victorian pre-democratic thought, Sam. I'm assuming that that's Shmuley in the chat there. Maybe I could be wrong though. I don't know. Anyway, hail to MAGA News Network, and yeah. So anyway, that'll just about do it for tonight's show. I do want to make a real quick announcement though, before I end tonight's stream. On Friday, we will be celebrating my 15th anniversary of podcasting. Not just on the Whitfield Report, but as a whole, going back to my days, all the way back to Podbean. So yeah, we'll be doing that celebration on Friday. It'll be, I'm thinking we're going to start it probably at like 10 p.m. Eastern. That's when we'll start the show. And should be pretty fun. So yeah, join us for the show. I know Max Sand will be, I know he has some clips of the old show, of my old shows in the past. We'll probably have some guests on from previous shows. So that will be on Friday. And if anyone would like to, call in and arrange to be on the show, let us know. You can, tweet me or DM me or DM Max or Shmuley and let one of us know if you're planning on attending. And yeah, should be pretty good overall. So anyway, though, folks, I want to thank everyone for tuning in for tonight's show. I know we had a few technical hiccups, and I do apologize for that. But hey, we got it working anyway, and I thought it was a decent show, even that was just me tonight. From all of us here at NGC Studios, have a good night. God bless. God save this great nation. And I'll see you guys on Friday for the celebration show. Ladies and gentlemen, until then, have a good evening, folks. And, yeah. Oh, real quick, MAGA News Network for $1 does say Catholicism is what we call a religion. Yes, indeed. That is the case. So, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for that super chat, by the way. And see you guys on Friday.
Thanks for listening to The Whitfield Report on the NGC Network. Please visit Sam's website at www.thesamwhitfield.com and support Sam on Patreon at patreon.com/Whitfield Report. Until next time, God bless, God save this great nation, and God, freedom, legacy, in that order.